Tvamaka Kesava Dirisham Samikshano Prito Guru Na Swagatim Bubutvatam. Matajis. Achakshu, one who does not have the power of sight. Andasya, for such a blind person. Yata, as. Agrini, the leader, who goes first. Kritaha, accepted. Tata, similarly. Janasya, such a person. Ani dusha, who has no knowledge of the goal of life. A Buddha, a foolish rascal. Guru, the spiritual master. Tvam, your lordship. Akaturik, appear like the sun. Savadurisham, of all sources of knowledge. Samikshana, the complete seer. Briditaha, accepted. Guru, the spiritual master. Naha, our. Swagatim, one who has known his real self-interest. Vibhutsatam, such an enlightened person. Translation of Prabhupada by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Śrīmad Prabhupada. Just, you can't put your back to Krishna. That's good. As a blind man, being unable to see, accepts another blind man as his leader, people who do not know the goal of life accept someone as a guru who is a rascal and a fool. But we are interested in self-realization. Therefore, we accept you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as our spiritual master. For you are able to see in all directions and are omniscient like the sun. Translation responsively. As a blind man, is everyone awake? I'll start again. Wake up. Jeev Jago. Jeev Jago. As a blind man. Oh, that's better. That is better. Being unable to see. Accepts another blind man as his leader. People who do not know the goal of life accept someone as a guru who is a rascal and a fool. But we are interested in self-realization. Therefore we accept you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as our spiritual master. For you are able to see in all directions and are omniscient like the sun. Purport. The conditioned soul, being wrapped up in ignorance and therefore not knowing the goal of life, accepts a guru who can juggle words and make some display of magic. That is wonderful to a fool. Sometimes a foolish person accepts someone as a guru because he can manufacture a small quantity of gold by mystic yoga power. Because such a disciple has a poor fund of knowledge, he cannot judge whether the manufacturer of gold is the criterion for a guru. Why should one not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, from whom unlimited numbers of gold mines come into being? Aham savasya prabhavo mataha savam pravartate. All the gold mines are created by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, why should one accept a magician who can manufacture only a small portion of gold? Such gurus are accepted as those who are blind, by those who are blind, not knowing the goal of life. Maharaj Satyabrata, however, knew the goal of life. He knew the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he accepted the Lord as his guru. Either the Supreme Lord or his representative can become a guru. The Lord says, Mam eva ye prapajante, mayam evam tarantite. One can get relief from the clutches of Maya as soon as he surrenders unto me, the Supreme Personality. Therefore, it is the Guru's business to instruct his disciple to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he wants relief from the material clutches, this is the symptom of the Guru. The same principle was instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yari Deka, Tari Kaha, Krishna Upadesh. In other words, one is advised not to accept a guru who does not follow the path of instruction given by Lord Krishna. Amagyan Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Srila Prabhupada once instructed us that of all the verses in Bhagavad Gita, which is the most important? No? Which verse is most important? 4 point what? 34, yeah. Yeah, Prabhupada once said like that, 4.34. Tadvidi pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya, upadekshanti te jnanam, jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. And this can be considered the most important verse in Bhagavad Gita. That one needs guru, one needs guidance to understand the absolute truth. You can't understand the absolute truth unless you have guidance or guru. And this is a problem in the modern age because people think they don't need guru. This philosophy has become prevalent in the East and also in the West. The truth is within you. Right? It is within you. You don't need a guru. You know, it's within you. One time, when I was living in Adelaide many years ago, we sold a full set of Bhagavatams to one girl that we were cultivating. She was coming to the temple. So we sold a Bhagavatam set. But then she started associating with a Mayavadi guru. This lady, and she was calling herself a guru. But she was not a devotee. She was like Mayavadi. So she was associating with her, and then she gave me back the Bhagavatam set. You know, we sold it to her, and then she gave it back. And I said, "Why are you giving the Bhagavatam back?" She said, "I don't need to read it. Everything is within us." And then the Bhagavatam set was there, and she just put her hand on it, and she said, "Everything is coming, everything." What sort of a philosophy is this? You know, but people, this is modern philosophy. Sometimes in spiritual life, there's no logic to it. Prabhupada says Lord Chaitanya's mission was spread by logic and argument. It is logical. What we present to people is logical. We can't always prove it, but it's logical. Some of the things we say are very extraordinary. We say the universe is 311 trillion yojanas wide, like a big egg, and at the bottom of the universe, halfway down, it is filled with mystical water, and there's a huge, gigantic, blue, four-armed man who is laying there, and then from his navel is coming a lotus flower, which is the Milky Way. And on top of the lotus flower, Lord Brahma is in. There's some of the stuff we say is extraordinary. You know, and how do we prove it? You know, you get the Hubble telescope, you direct it towards the bottom of the universe. Do you see Garbhodakshaya Vishnu? You know, because you don't have spiritual eyes, so you can't. So we say these things. It's extraordinary things, but we believe it because we have Shraddha, faith. We've been purified by the Daivi Prakriti, by the spiritual energy. So therefore we believe these things. But some of the things we say are extraordinary. But Prabhupada says with logic and argument, right? Because most of the things we say, even that's logical. What we say is logical. But you have to have a creationist worldview to understand it. If you're an evolutionist, it doesn't make sense. But then, okay, we're creationists, and some of the things we say are extraordinary, but the evolutionists are extraordinary as well. You know, one day, there was a big bang. And it was slow explosion. When was the last time you saw a slow explosion? That's extraordinary already. But they believe it. They say, no, everything exploded, but exploded slowly. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, okay, that's what they say. Then, all the chunks of ice all landed, and they all started floating like this, and symmetry came, and order came. And then on one of the chunks of ice floating around, some amoeba came, little germs, came, and then water started to form, and they went into the water, and then they started to turn into tadpoles, and then they were like moving around, and then they became fish, and a few of the fish became axolotl, with legs, and then they came up onto the land, because some land was there, and then they walked around on the land, and then they came up and they got tails, and they became monkeys, and then trees came and they climbed up the trees, and they were swinging around in the trees, and then one day while they were swinging, a human dropped out, right? And the human got up and said, "My name is Adam." And then another human dropped out and said, "My name is Eve." And they said, "Would you like to marry me?" And Eve said, "Yes, I'd marry you." And then there was an apple on a tree, and Adam said, "Don't eat the apple." And she said, "I don't listen to my husband." So she ate the apple, and then there we go. Right? People actually believe all this. Right? That's extraordinary. So, okay, we say things which are extraordinary, but so do they. But our prasadam is better. That's true. That's true. You have to choose where you go, there, right? George Harrison said, "If I have to choose, I'll choose those people." He pointed to the devotees. Because our prasadam is better. Right? If you go to some scientific conference, you won't eat what we get to eat. You won't get to honor, nice prasadam. They'll just give you like Vegemite toast and... not as good, I tell you, it's not as good. So we choose to believe this. But Prabhupada says logic and argument. It is logical what we say. Some parts of it are extraordinary, but it is logical. Right? Many of the things we say are very logical. It makes sense. That's why we became devotees. Prabhupada actually says in the purport of 434, which he said was the most important verse in Gita, Prabhupada actually says, blind following is condemned. Right? You've all read it. Prabhupada says, blind following is condemned. We don't follow blindly. Every day I question what I read and what I hear. Every day. I never follow blindly, even now. I've been practicing devotional service for more than half of my life. But I still question everything. Why is that? How does that make sense? How does that connect? And I always get the answers. Right? So, some people, they say you don't need a guru. That's not logical. That's not logical. Right? It's, as Prabhupada said, it's the most important verse in Gita. It means this is essential in our philosophy. When Rupa Goswami compiled Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, and in chapter 6, what is chapter 6 called? Nectar of Devotion, chapter 6. Right? He gives 64 angas of bhakti. Right? Right? In chapter 6. 64 items of devotional service are given. What is number 1? Adol. Adol means in the beginning. Right? Guru Pad Ashraya. Bhakti begins with Guru Pad Ashraya. Ashraya means you take shelter. Guru Pad, right? Of the lotus feet of spiritual master. That's where bhakti begins. Why? Because if you don't have guru, you won't know how to serve Krishna. You need spiritual masters. You need senior Vaishnavas. The senior Vaishnavas are your Shiksha Gurus. Now, you have Diksha Guru, your main guru, but then you have Shiksha Gurus. Right? They teach you how to serve, otherwise you don't know how to serve Krishna. I told you many times, someone left a box, people give, Sunday night, everyone leaves things on the altar for the deity. Someone left a box, this is 30 years ago. So we thought, what is in the box? So we took it into a paraphernalia room. Right? We open up the box, cigars. Right? Not appropriate to offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because bhakti has to have 2 elements. Rupa Goswami explains that. It must be favorable and it must be pleasing. then bhakti becomes potent or complete, right? The person was favorable because, like, in the outside world, if you... sometimes when someone has a baby, they give out cigars to all their friends. In the outside world. We don't do it, but they do it. They think, oh, this is a good thing, like high class. Oh, I give you a cigar, this is very nice. Right? So favorable, they left their box there. They were favorable, they tried to please Krishna, but not pleasing, because Krishna does not smoke the cigar. There's nothing in the Leela, nothing in Krishna book. I've read many pastimes about Krishna. Never anything is mentioned. Krishna does not take it. He chews pan. He takes the pan, he takes that. Okay, so if you offer pan to Krishna, first class. You offer a cigar, not good. Right? So what was wrong with the person? They did not have guru. Even yesterday at Hare Krishna Valley, where I live, in the forest. I'm like Vanaprastha. I live in the forest. So I'm in the forest, and yesterday, people were coming to visit. Public holiday, people were visiting. And there's only 4 of us living there. So, we can't always see where everyone is, what everyone's doing. So I was over at my ashram, and then I went back to the temple. And I went into the temple kitchen, the kitchen at our farm. And there were some guests, they were in there, and they were heating things up. Heating up. They took some, we have the fridge outside, had prasadam left over from the Sunday feast. They took it, they were heating it up. Okay, that's okay. Not that. But they took the bowls from outside that we eat from, they brought that into the kitchen. So I said, what are you doing? No training, because they're not learning the devotional science from the gurus. I didn't say it to them, but the point was there in my mind, is because you don't have guru, you don't understand. You've not learnt the standards of bhakti. That's why you need Diksha Guru. That's why you need Shiksha Gurus who will teach you, hey, this is the standard. Don't put your back towards Krishna. Otherwise, who will tell you? Otherwise, you will do it. But in Nectar of Devotion, it says, don't put your back to Krishna. If I put my back to you, that's impersonal. You turn your back on that, that's impersonal. You don't do that to Krishna. It says in Nectar of Devotion, don't fall asleep in front of the deity. That's why I'm always watching everyone when I'm giving class. If anyone falls asleep, I say, Hare Krishna, please, don't do it. Like I said, we're reading this shloka. First time you read it, sounded like everyone was asleep. Right? Everyone, what is that? Either you're here or you're not here. Are you here or not? Because you can be here in the temple room, but you can also not be here. Even in class, sometimes your mind goes to Hawaii. Right? Sometimes, right? In class, your mind is some other place. But you have to be here, otherwise you don't get benefit. If you're not listening and concentrating, you don't get benefit. Prabhupada said you have to listen with rapt attention. Listen, what am I learning? Every Bhagavatam class, I get something, some benefit. I always learn something, every class. Sometimes the class is a bit boring, but I always learn something. But this is the system. The system is you have to learn from gurus. Diksha gurus, Shiksha gurus. That's the system. So this is a problem in the modern age. People think they don't need gurus. Like in the modern world, they think we don't need, I can just touch the book. Everything has come. Well, what is that? In every education system around the world, like I always give this example, right? You study to become a brain surgeon. You have to go to university. You have to learn from the professor, right? You have to read the books, right? Imagine if you have brain tumor, and you have to go to the hospital, and you go in and you speak to the doctor, the surgeon, And you say, what are your qualifications? And they said, well, I went to university and I put my hand on all the books and everything about brain surgery came in, and now I will operate on you. Right? And what will you do? Yeah, you'll walk out. You're not going to stay. Right? Who would do that? So why is it that in every system of education on the planet, you need teachers, you need books, Shastra, and then when it comes to spiritual life, people say, oh no, you don't need teachers, you don't need gurus, you don't need Shastra, you just put your hand on it. Right? What is this? Where did this come from? But this is Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, people say all crazy things because ashraddha. Ashraddha means they don't have faith anymore. They lost faith in the gurus, in the Shastra. So the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the Hare Krishna movement, Prabhupada's movement, we have to re-establish faith, shraddha, in the people, so that you have faith. I need a guru, right? I need teachers. I need people to instruct me. My Guru Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he once said, I don't trust any one person's mind, including my own. Right? It's very nice instruction, right? Because sometimes we listen to our mind, but your mind might take you away from Krishna. How do you know how can you trust your mind? Krishna says in Gita, the mind is best friend or worst enemy. Okay, so if your mind's your friend, which if you're a devotee and you're practicing, your mind gets up in the morning, I want to serve Krishna. Then your mind is your friend. I want to chant my rounds. I want to go to the temple. I want to go to Mangalati. I want to hear class. I want to serve the devotees. Then your mind is your friend. But sometimes your mind wakes up, it doesn't say that. Does it happen? Really? But sometimes it happens. You wake up in the morning, your mind says, no, don't get out of bed. Right? Right? I will worship Krishna from here. In my mind, today I will do Manasa Puja while I'm sleeping. That's not good. You have to get up, right? Go and jump in the cold shower, right? And then come to Mangalati. This is the system. You have to push your mind, control your mind, Krishna says in Gita. So that is the system. You cannot trust one mind, including your own. That's why you need gurus, right? It's such an important point in our philosophy. It cannot be overstated. It cannot be overstated. One good thing in ISKCON is there's so much emphasis on the guru. If you go to many of the other temples, they don't have as much, like we do Guru Puja every day to the Founder-Acharya. So much emphasis on the gurus. And it's interesting because it says in Nectar of Devotion, one should not bow down to someone else in front of the deities. Right? Just like if you see a devotee and you're in the temple, you should go outside if you want to offer obeisances to each other. Because when you're in the temple, you offer to Krishna. Right? That's the system. But it's interesting, it says in Nectar of Devotion, don't bow down to someone else, but Prabhupada does Guru Puja in front of Krishna every day. What does that say? That says how close he is to Krishna. That he allows us to bow down in front of him, in front of Krishna. Right? That's an extraordinary point. How close Prabhupada and Krishna are. Prabhupada said in his Leela, when he was going across on the Jaladuta, right, 2 heart attacks, and then he said, Krishna, the whole night Krishna sat on the side of his bed and massaged his chest. Because Prabhupada, after 2 heart attacks, said, Krishna sat there whole night, massaging his chest. Prabhupada also said on several occasions, he had argument with Krishna. Krishna said, I want you to go to material world. Prabhupada said, I don't like austerity. He said, that place, too much austerity. Material world means austerity, is it? Anyone done austerity here? No austerity? Everything is good? This world is dukkalaya. Dukkalaya means hard going, not easy. Hands up if your life's sometimes hard, difficult. Hands up. Okay, some put up. Some of the kids didn't put their hand up. That's good, that's good. No, if you're a kid, it should not be hard. You know, when you grow up, then it becomes more difficult. If you're a kid and you say, not hard, that's good actually. You know, because when you're a kid, your parents take the difficulties. You just enjoy yourself. You just play and learn shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita. Right? And when you're older, then you will enjoy the suffering of the material world. Very young. So Prabhupada said to Krishna, he said, I don't want to. Krishna said, you have to go. Prabhupada said, I don't want to go. Too much austerity. Krishna said, no, you have to go. Prabhupada said, okay, I will go. Because Krishna asked him. Then, when Prabhupada came, Krishna said, I want you to spread the Hare Krishna movement as a poor man. Right? And Prabhupada said to Krishna, no, as a rich man. I will go there, I will do it all, but I have to be rich, lots of money so I can spread the movement. Krishna said, no, poor man. So they had argument, but Krishna won. So then when Prabhupada crossed on the ship, he only had $8. You imagine if we put you on a boat now, this morning, we drive to the Spirit of Tasmania, we put you on the Spirit of Tasmania, we give you a box of Bhagavatams and $8 and say, go and open a temple. Imagine. And Prabhupada was 69. Right? Imagine we did that to you. Would you do, could you do it? Would you do it? I would do it, I would try, but it would be very difficult. Imagine, like you get there and then it's like, I mean there's devotees there now, so it's easier now, you know. But when Prabhupada came to America, no devotees. Prabhupada said he got off the boat, he said, I don't know whether to turn left or turn right. Prabhupada did not, so he got off the boat. And for the first few months, every week he would go to the ticket office to find out when the boat was going back, because he thought it's not possible. This Prabhupada was thinking like this. So difficult. How will these people take Krishna consciousness? But he stayed. He said, let me just try a little bit longer. Just try a little bit longer. Just try a little bit longer. It wasn't easy for Prabhupada. Sometimes we think, oh, Prabhupada just did everything easily. No, it wasn't like that. A lot of austerity. So the point is that we need gurus. It's such an important point in our philosophy, right? You can't progress in spiritual life without spiritual masters, right? People think in the outside world, oh, I don't know guru, like that. And even sometimes we don't listen to our gurus. We think, I know better. I remember many years ago, maybe like 25 years ago, we had a retreat at the farm, Buru Jampuru and Mother Jagatarini. So Mother Jagatarini, she's my Shiksha Guru, you know, senior devotee. So she gave me an instruction. But then I walked out of the room and I thought, she is more advanced than me, but I am more intelligent. That's how I thought. So I thought she gave me the instruction, but I thought, I won't do what she said. You know, she's more advanced, but I'm more intelligent, so I won't do what she said. I will do it differently. Right? What she told me to do, I will do it, but I'll do it differently. And it didn't work because I did not follow the guru. And then, the next day, I got up in the morning to chant my japa, and I had no taste for chanting. No taste. I was chanting, you know when you chant in the morning? Like, do you ever sometimes, you have no taste? So you're chanting, but it's like, oh, there's no taste there. So I'm chanting, but there's no taste. This happened for 2 weeks. Every day for 2 weeks, no chanting. Because Krishna was saying, if the guru gives you instruction, you follow it. But I did not follow, and then Krishna took away all my taste. And gradually he gave it back, and I said, I'm sorry, I won't do that again. Instructions of the Gurus. Thank you. That's an upgrade. Thank you. So this is why it is explained we must always follow the Gurus. Be submissive, render service, inquire. Right? That is the essence of spiritual life. Adore Guru Padashraya. So here it is being explained. You need gurus. Such an important part of our philosophy. Right? Right? And the best devotees, who are the best devotees in ISKCON? Who is the best devotee in ISKCON? Who are the best devotees? Who? Who's the best? Which devotees? Which devotees are best in ISKCON? Those who are most surrendered to their gurus. They are the best. You see, like His Holiness Radhanath Swami, Devamrita Swami, and Jaipataka Swami, and the list goes on and on. Lokanath Swami. The list goes on and on and on. Right? Surrendered to their gurus. Right? And that they become the best devotees. Why are they the best devotees? Because they surrender to the guru. That is the system. So that's what we have to follow when we study Bhagavatam. Right? We must follow in the footsteps. Right? Always surrender to gurus. Don't make any decision, right, unless you consult with your gurus. Otherwise, you will have problems. We will stop there and we will ask if there are any questions in the material world. Material world key? Jai. Any questions or comments? Yes, sir. Do you have the mic?
Hare Krishna, thank you for a nice class. When we're preaching to people outside, because currently there's a lot of prominent gurus in our society, and they all sound very convincing and very charming. How do we, when we're establishing a relationship with potential devotees, how do we convince them of this, I guess, authority of Srila Prabhupada, and at the same time convince them to abandon their attachment to these, I guess, bogus gurus? Because some of these gurus, from what they've said or the instructions they follow, they have had some benefits from it, and they have come to spiritual life because of those instructions, so they have this deep attachment to these gurus. But obviously from our perspective, we can see these gurus are quite, they're not very spiritual per se. So how do we convince these people?
Well, the gurus are spiritual, but they're not devotees. So, Shastra teaches us that you must accept a guru who is a Vaishnava, not an Asura. Like in Bhagavatam we see the guru of the Asuras, what is his name? Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So he is guru, he is spiritual, but he is Asuric, which means he may not teach you, he's not Vaishnava, so he may not teach you to surrender to Krishna. He actually said to Bali Maharaj, don't surrender to this person, Vamanadev, Krishna. He said, don't. So then he's not qualified to be guru. So it's a big challenge actually. Even Prabhupada said it's a very big challenge. Prabhupada said, I think it was about 1975, he went to one like Mela where there was many of these gurus and they're not devotees. And Prabhupada's comment, he said, it makes it so challenging to spread Krishna consciousness. Because there's all these gurus and they're charismatic. Like I listen to some of them sometimes, not like in the sense that I'm trying to, but they say some very good things, in terms of life lessons or how to deal in this material world. They have knowledge, they have potency. But then when it comes to surrendering to Krishna, I don't go to them to learn that because they don't teach that. They may be able to help us in other ways. But it makes it difficult because new people are coming and then there's so many options and they can't differentiate. So we have to purify them through chanting the holy name, taking prasadam, and hearing with logic and argument the philosophy of the Bhagavatam. So it takes time. You have to be patient. It takes time. They're not going to change overnight. Just because you say, oh, so-and-so is bogus, and they're not going to... Because like you said, they already have a connection to the person, and the person helped them. So it's not going to happen overnight. You have to gradually bring them. And you have to say, yeah, they say good things to a certain extent, but they're not devotees. So now we're taking you to another place.
So should we try to challenge the relationship with the Guru, like gradually, or we should just kind of let the purification come from the holy name, prasadam, service?
Prabhupada said, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Vishnu Jan Maharaj, they had the Radha Damodar travelling bus party, which is famous in ISKCON history. So they used to go to the universities and they were preaching to the students. And everyone's got, you know what it's like now. Like Dave Marita Swami's doing a program next week, isn't it? With the Melbourne University. You know what it's like. Like all the people there, everyone's got so many ideas. So Prabhupada said, don't say, when you're preaching to the students, right, don't say that they are wrong. Prabhupada said, listen to what they say oh, that's nice, like agree with them, that's nice, however, and then just take it to there. Otherwise, if you go in, and Prabhupada said, if you go in and you just start saying, oh, that's wrong, he's bogus, like that, they'll just think, oh, who's this guy? And they'll walk away. So you just say, you listen to them, you say, oh, that's nice. What we do, and then you say, and then just try to encourage them like that. It's not easy, because there's so much contamination in Kali Yuga. So much contamination. So we have to be very careful how we preach it. It's gradual, it takes time. Like Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur said, it takes gallons of blood to make one devotee. In other words, it's not going to, just because you walk in. When I first started doing book distribution, 1990, 91, 92, I used to go out in the streets and I think, we have the way, the truth and the light. No one comes to the Father except through Krishna. That's how I was thinking. And I used to get confused because I would stop people, and some people would say they're Christians. And I had a real thing because, I used to be a Christian, not like heavily involved, but, I was brought up in Christianity. And then I became a devotee, so I thought every Christian's going to become a devotee. I did it, so they're all going to do it. So I would go and I would meet them on the street, and I would preach to them. No, and they weren't accepting it. And I was saying, why aren't they accepting it? Because it's very challenging. It takes time. Just because they meet one guy on the street and he says, oh, no, this is not right. This is all the way to go. No, it takes time. You've got to cultivate people. Like we see in all our programs, you've got to cultivate people week after week after week. And some of them don't come back. And then even the other day, there was one boy. I haven't seen him for 5 years. He used to come and do some service. And a few times over the 5 years, I've sent messages to him, how are you, like this. And then the other day, it just popped into my mind. It must have been Super Soul. Just he came up in my mind. And I thought, I sent him a message after 5 years. And then on Sunday, he came to the farm for our Sunday feed. Just came. He didn't even tell me he was going, just turned up. He goes, oh, you sent me a message. So it just takes time. You just got to keep going like this. TK? Oh, okay. Any other questions or comments in the material world?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I just wanted to get your thoughts on a more practical application of the Tadviti Pranipatena, Pariprasne Seva. So sometimes some of our spiritual families, the spiritual master may have thousands of disciples. So in that case, that personal service, the inquiry may be a bit more difficult. And also you were talking about life situations to always get the guidance of the spiritual. So in some cases, again, it might be such a big family that to get that personal instruction may be difficult. So if you could shed some light on that.
On a practical way. Yeah, because, okay, so Radhanath Swami as an example, how many disciples does Maharaj have? 40,000, something like that. 40, it's huge. So how are you going to instruct every disciple? You know, if you have 40,000 disciples, how are they going to all render service to you? You know, imagine 100 devotees trying to serve prasadam at one time. Oh Maharaj, Maharaj like, hey, everyone just... So, in that example, Maharaj set up the counseling system, right? So you're not going to have direct association with your Shiksha Guru, right, so much. So then you have Shiksha Gurus, because your Diksha Guru is limited. He can't associate with everyone simultaneously. So we need Shiksha Gurus. And the day I got initiated, I got initiated just here, where I'm sitting now. The day I got initiated, I went to see my Guru Maharaj in the morning, and he said to me, establish relationships with others. He said it will take many people to take you back to Godhead. He said, don't just establish a relationship just with me. Right? So he was giving me instruction, have Shiksha Gurus. You know, because Diksha Guru, not everyone can get association, not everyone can get direct instruction, not everyone can get service. So we have to, like that. So that's practical. Yeah. You know, if your Guru only has 10 disciples, that makes it much easier. If your Guru has 40,000, you know, Jayapataka Swami has how many? 70,000 or something, or 80 or something. So, it's okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki? Hare Krishna.